Thank you. I'm a professor at the MIT Sloan School of Management. The topic I want to talk to you about is the rise of China. In the last 30 years, there has been a momentous event that has happened to our world, the rise of China. If you look at the share of the GDP, this green line represents China, this red line represents the United States. The two countries are, China is clearly climbing up to converge with that of the United States. If China grows at its current rate, all the predictions are suggesting that in 10 years from now, China is going to have a bigger share of the world GDP as compared with the United States. That we know, or we think we know. There's a lot of things we actually don't know. One is we don't know how Chinese economy has developed so fast. Is it because of a clever government, or is it because of millions of entrepreneurs? And there's a scholar by the name of Martin Jacques. He gave a TED talk arguing that it was the government that created the economic miracle of China. I also gave a TED talk arguing that it was entrepreneurship that created the economic miracle of China. If you look at the number of the viewers, clearly my side is not doing very well, and we have lost that argument rather badly. The other question is that China has grown very fast, but can the country continue to grow? And this is a very current topic. If you look at the economists in one issue, they talk about the dangers of the rising China, and then in the next issue, they talk about the dangers of falling China. And there's an additional question of whether or not the Chinese growth is achieved at the expense of welfare. Many of you know food safety, environment, these are huge issues in China. Let me show you some cartoons of a happy or not so happy Chinese family being concerned about, in addition to pork and vegetables they are eating, what else are they consuming? This is a cartoon about using Chinese-made milk as an anti-terror strategy. China, we know, is able to produce and manufacture at a large scale, but can the country innovate? Look at this picture of massive Chinese factory. And this is a New York Times opinion piece about whether or not China can innovate. This is a country that doesn't have democracy, doesn't have freedom of ideas. It can produce, but can the country innovate? There are many, many questions, and when we have so many questions, the natural answer for an academic is that we need to do research. I'm involved in many of the research projects that are going on at MIT Sloan School. We're studying entrepreneurship vis-a-vis the role of the state in the Chinese economic takeoff. We're studying, there's a lot of debate whether or not Chinese data are trustworthy. We have developed a methodology to test the accuracy of the Chinese data. We're collecting and building a data set on corruption. Again, another very timely topic, as Panama Papers would indicate. By the way, in China, the country of Panama doesn't exist. It has been censored. We are also studying history. We have two projects. One is on the civil service exam during the Ming Dynasty. We have 40,000 observations of candidates taking the civil service exam during the Ming Dynasty. And we are building a massive data set on Chinese historical inventions. Let me go a little bit, and then we have the food safety. We have a multi-discipline team to study food safety issues in China. Let me go a little bit into the one project on entrepreneurship. And Baomo, who is an economist at New York University, distinguishes between two kinds of entrepreneurship. Replicative entrepreneurship, which is associated with scaling existing technologies and scaling existing products. Innovative entrepreneurship, which is associated with new and disruptive technologies and new business models. China has a lot of replicative entrepreneurship. Let's just look at some pictures. This is a Starbucks with its Chinese relatives and derivatives. And this is McDonald's with an extra Chinese arch. And this is a Wire magazine arguing that we should really copy or begin to copy China. Here's a picture of an Apple store in Kunming, Yunnan province, as an illustration of replicative entrepreneurship. You will probably ask, why is that an example of replicative entrepreneurship? Isn't Apple one of the most innovative companies in the world? Yes, Apple is, but the problem is Apple has never opened a store in Kunming and China. There are actually 3 fake Apple stores nearby. There's even a fake Goldman Sachs in Shenzhen. Replicate products is one thing. Replicate an entire organization is quite something else. The thing about replication strategy is that it is less demanding on the kind of political and economic institutions that you have. Because in a replication strategy, the goal is given. The task is to figure out what is the best way to implement the goal. And we know that. We know that funding is necessary for that. We know that we need to have basic physical and social infrastructures. We know we need to have a friendly business environment. And China has a lot of those. The issue is for innovation strategy, whether or not China can have the institutional conditions to pursue innovation strategy. Those strategies require more from the institutions because the goal is not given. You need searches, you need trials, you need errors. And there you need freedom of ideas, you need rule of law and intellectual property right, you need high level of trust, you need risk capital, you need to enable the government but also constrain government. China currently doesn't have those. We're celebrating the first 100 years in Cambridge, and that century also coincides with the American century. The next 100 years in Cambridge of MIT is likely to be shared among the United States and China and also other countries. Do we understand each other? Can we work together to solve global problems? Will we be friends or foes? And more importantly, will the relationship be like between the Winnie the Pooh and the tiger? So many questions and so few answers. Let's do more research. Thank you very much.